So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can be a better consumer and what good consuming looks like, and just overall being a conscious consumer, and offer you a new perspective on getting rid of your bad habits. And it has nothing to do with discipline. Instead, it has more to do with what I'm going to talk about, because it's all about being aware of your consuming habits. So I'm going to offer my perspective on what I think leads you to do the bad habits, and then offer my perspective on what I think about consuming in general and a new mindset that I've learned. So before we begin, my name is Michael, and I help young men in their early 20s start to free up their time and then use that free time for more purposeful work and entrepreneurship. So, consuming is what we all do pretty much at all times. You may not realize, but the moment you wake up, you're probably consuming. And this may be consuming by checking your phone, it may be consuming by your habits, it may be consuming by listening to music on your way to work, it may be consuming by when you're at work, you're eating. Really, we're all always consuming. We're always like doing something that is that is part of a habit. And so a lot of times, if we don't question our habits and question why we're doing certain things, then we're just gonna keep on doing them the way we do them. And we're gonna do things that make us feel good because that's natural. Our body pushes us to things that feel good. So, yeah, during my process of just like changing my habits and going from someone who in college and high school and even before that, I just did whatever. Like I would lay in my bed pretty much all day and watch YouTube, watch prank videos, watch politics, watch like golf videos, and eat chips. And half the time I'd be high when I was laying in my bed, and I would just be doing things that made me feel good because that's just a part of like what I learned. Like if you're in America, then we're one of the biggest consuming countries. Like the majority of us are always consuming something that the corporations are making. And it goes it goes deeper than just consuming. Like as far as consuming sounds like it's consuming a physical a physical thing. Like consuming sounds like it's just drinking, or it sounds like it's just eating, but it's way more than that. It's eating, drinking, it's watching TV, it's laying in your bed and watching social media, it's like getting consumed by your habits. It's when you do something that you didn't consciously make the decision to do. It's like your habit pulled you in that direction instead of you consciously choosing to do that thing. Like, for example, if I woke up and brushed my teeth this morning, I probably didn't like, I probably started to do it before I even thought about it. Like, my body just started naturally doing that for me. And so you can make an argument that I was being consumed there because, like, my body was doing it before I told myself, like, go brush your teeth, you know? So consuming is not just eating and drinking, consuming is everything. And so what I learned is that I think what I naturally learned is that when I was like starting to get rid of my bad habits, I learned that I think I naturally learned this concept that all of these things, that's what I'm going to call them, things are distractions, are pleasure driven things. And they were just things that I always did naturally without even like questioning them. You know, things like watching TV, things like watching Netflix, things like being on social media. It's something I would just naturally do because it felt good. And so if we're in the habit of doing these things without even questioning why we're doing them, then we're more likely consuming most of the time without even realizing it. And so, yeah, what I learned is that they're all distractions. And so the thing that helped me the most to start getting rid of these was to gain an awareness and start to question like why I did this shit. Like why do I feel like watching TV? What is drawing me to want this food right now? Do I really need this food? And if you could start to question yourself before you do these things, then you're just going to add another layer of resistance and you're going to be less likely to just consume unawareingly. So hopefully this is making sense. Another way to picture this is that we're either we're doing one of two things. We're either producing or we're consuming. And most of the time we're consuming. You may think you're producing, but a lot of times you're still consuming. You know, even if you go home after work one day and you're reading a book, even though that's productive, you're still consuming another person's work. And so the key, I guess the main thing to understand is that we're always just consuming. And so the main thing is to transition from this consuming mindset to producing. And producing doesn't have to be this like crazy like business term. Producing can mean producing as in working on art, working on music, working on teaching people, working on writing, or working on business. But the real way to get rid of your bad habits is to consume less and produce more. If you can start to replace your consuming habits with producing habits, then naturally you're going to just consume less. So a main way to start transitioning into this is to meditate. And I'd say the biggest thing that has helped me start to transition into the producing mindset as opposed to just consuming is meditating. And meditating is just simply being comfortable sitting still. Meditating is understanding when you have like urges to pick up your phone or urges to eat this food or urges to watch TV. You're understanding your impulses and you're not just like acting right away. You're becoming aware of these impulses before you do them. So, yeah, meditating. And then also another thing that I did is just like educating myself. The more I learned about like the things I was consuming, the less it made me want to consume them, like fast food. The more you learn about fast food and the more perspectives you get, the less you want to consume it. So it doesn't have as much to do with discipline. It has more to do with perspective. Like the way that I view fast food now is it's this food that tastes good, but it has a bunch of chemicals in it. Like I can just picture random scientists in a lab, like doing experiments and putting random chemicals in the food. And that turns me away from it. So it's just another, like, it's a perspective change. And another thing is to question everything, question every buying decision you make, question every like decision you make before you consume it. Like what am I actually consuming? Like what's going in my body? What ingredients are in it? Is how is this going to make me feel after? Is it going to be worth how I feel after? Is it going to be worth the long-term like risks of cancer, of health problems? Like if you can start to gain a higher level of questioning before you buy anything or consume anything, then it will be easier to stay disciplined. Like it's not about discipline, it's just about being a conscious consumer. So hopefully this makes sense and hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, and I appreciate you watching.